This is the podcast series dedicated to living a revenue culture. Those of you who've been with us for a while know that a revenue culture means you've maximized your profit because you've optimized your people in a low friction context. When you think about that for a minute, you know you're never going to maximize profit if your people aren't optimized, if they're not engaged, collaborative, if they're not inventive, if they're not having a good time. They're never going to maximize your profit. And they're never going to get good at revenue unless you optimize them in a low friction revenue context. So we bring you every 2 weeks people out there in the real world working on helping organizations have that revenue context. And in this new 2026, if you've been with us for a while but missed the first few sessions, we're doing this jointly now with Josh and I. And our mission is to combine the best of Gen Z with the best of boomers and really encourage creativity and innovation. And to do that, we're building a new revenue community. And we have a new team member with us today, Precious Akupanyin. And
Rennie.
say it again, Josh.
Rennie.
Thank you. And Precious is our intern now, and he's been with us, I guess, a little over a month. And he's doing some really good work. And we've asked him to join us today to help share what he sees in the community we're building and give us fresh eyes, fresh ideas from his perspective, because Josh and I have been in this for 10 years, so we get a little predetermined in our thoughts. So we're hoping Precious is going to bring us some new ideas. So with that, welcome, Precious.
Thank you guys. Hi guys.
Uh, so Precious, the first thing, please give the audience your background. You know, where have you been? What have you been doing? And how did you get here?
Okay, hi guys. My name is Precious Akupanyin. I'm a graduate of economics. I graduated with a degree in economics, and my background is mainly digital marketing, content strategy, and social media management. And basically, when I actually started this internship, I wouldn't say I was expecting to get it. But then at the end of the day, when I actually got it, I saw that I had a lot of potential to actually contribute a lot to this. And I saw that it actually had a lot of things to actually add into me. Basically the things that basically drew me to this internship was the chance to see business strategy at a deeper level. Basically a lot of marketing strategies online focuses on tactics, posting more, running hard, chasing algorithms and stuff like that. But then when I got into the revenue game, I was able to understand that you need to be strategic, especially at the side of revenue and value creation. The revenue game felt like a place where I could learn that thinking is behind growth and is not just metrics or tactics and stuff like that. You basically have to think to actually create value.
Yeah, thank you. And um, you've had a chance to go through. We have a series of teaching videos that help organizations learn how to create a revenue strategy, and you've been through those, and you've been through the surveys with those, so you've learned the language we use and the structure of a revenue strategy. And based on going through that, what was your first impression from learning those things?
Okay. So honestly, my first impression was that this was actually different. A lot of business content out there are actually based on surface level tips, hacks, quick wins, and stuff like that. But the revenue game has this deeper foundation. There's this framework, there's this vocabulary, and there's this whole system for you to actually grow and create value to people that you are actually selling to. It felt like less of an advice, but more of like a real discipline. I remember, okay, I was actually thinking that, okay, this is actually going to take some real learning, but so far I've been able to actually, gain something from it.
And what's something that stood out about Rick's and the revenue games thinking compared to usual business advice online? I know you said, it's kind of surface level, quick win stuff. Is there anything deeper to that you've noticed?
So basically what I've noticed ever since I've been speaking with Rico is that Rick's thinking actually focuses on, structure, clarity, and instead of shortcuts that most people actually preach about, it's mostly on clarity and you basically having structure. A lot of business content online promises the fastest results and stuff like that. But then, Rick's talks about things like the true north, flow management, revenue alignment, which
Yep.
are more about building a system that actually produce results consistently, instead of something that you can actually have when you have that structure, when you have that strategy, you can be able to use it on a long time scale rather than what most other business just produce, basically just quick acts and fastest win. So it's basically shift the focus of how do we grow fast to how do we build a company that can grow predictably. So that's what I've actually seen that stood out with Rick.
Awesome. And as you've been learning Smart Rev and revenue science, you talked about bell curve and some other things. What's one concept that's really clicked for you so far, or just stands out to you as, really important or valuable?
Uh, okay, so the concept that actually stands for me is I'd say the idea of the cost of chaos. I'm still trying to understand that. But then, before this, I thought that slow growth is usually as a result of poor marketing or a weak product or, communicating to your customers very well. But then, ever since I started interning with revenue science, it actually explains a lot of things like, many companies lose revenue simply because their teams are actually misaligned. Marketing, sales, operations, everybody are working in silos, as Rick would actually say. But then you all need to actually work together to actually create that to actually live that revenue culture. And that revenue culture is you actually transferring value to the buyers. So the revenue system actually creates like it actually creates this friction that once you see it in that way, you realize that a lot of revenue loss is not about effort, but it's more of misalignments in the teams.
Yeah, very, very, very thoughtful. Thank you. One of the reasons I'm so excited about Precious having you on our team is you and Josh first bring a generational view of business that I can never appreciate. I can't imagine being, your age and growing up with a smartphone and a tablet and, the things that you guys grew up with. I didn't touch my first computer until I was your age. And so, that was kind of a foreign thing. And we spent half our life worrying about are we going to break it? And of course, nobody worries about that today. The phones can even go swimming and come out and be okay. Um, the other thing you bring is, and you've been very humble in your introduction because you've had a number of experiences as an employee and as an intern internationally, in your home country, in the UK, in the US. And so you bring both a younger generation look and an international look. So think as a young international uh, leader coming up, and how do you see the revenue science applying in the world you're going to live in going forward?
Um, okay, sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, you're going to live in a world going forward that I'll never see. I'll be gone. How do
Yeah,
you see what you're learning in this internship is going to help you as you move forward?
okay. Um, so the way it's actually going to help me moving forward, I'm still trying to, I'm still looking into establishing a career in marketing. And so far, what I've learned from the revenue game has actually changed my perspective a lot. Basically, what I've seen so far is a lot of young entrepreneurs who are like freelancers and content creators. They have the audience, they have the skill, but they don't have that real strategy, you know. What this is actually impacting me is that revenue science isn't just for, big corporations, but literally it applies to everyone who is actually deciding who their ideal client is, what value they transfer, and how they stop wasting energy on the wrong people. So that is actually useful. And with short form content, real example, and honest storytelling would actually go a long way. And what Rick would always mention most of our meetings is that you actually have to be honest with your ideal clients.
Fascinating, fascinating. Uh, do you think that this message is going to be well received by young people?
Well, yeah, it's going to be because at the end of the day, most young people they actually want to go into freelancing. I would say not everyone wants to actually go into 9 to 5. Most people would actually want to be freelancers, content creators, and want to have establishments of their own. And what the revenue game actually teaches is how to actually maximize your revenue and how to actually transfer value to the buyers. And once you actually transfer value to your buyers, they actually trust you. And then they can be able to refer you to other people and other prospective buyers. And that way you're able to maximize more revenue. So I feel like more younger audience would actually need to watch this, would need to understand what they are doing wrong and how they can actually learn and adapt quickly for their business to actually, stay on the long run.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you've answered so many of my questions already, so I'm already starting to run out. Um, what's something that excites you the most about where this community is headed? Because you're obviously going to be a big part in helping us build it and, shape it. What's something that you're excited about for the community?
Well, for the community, I feel like it's actually going to be, you know, having a generation of people who are intentional about building, the idea of building a community that understand how revenue actually works, not just chasing trends, not just trying to follow trends and then see how they are going to actually sell, but then they need to understand how revenue actually works. There are a lot of people talking online about growth, but few people actually have conversation about the systems behind sustainable growth. And this is what the community is about. If more entrepreneurs actually start thinking this way, I think that it can actually change how companies are built from the start.
That's great.
Um, so now I'm going to ask you a selfish question. How can you
Mhm.
help us spread the word of the community? And you come to this with fresh eyes. 5 weeks ago, we didn't know each other. And so
Yeah.
now what do you think we should be doing to share what you've learned with broader people and create a trustworthy community?
Mm. Well, I would say that so for me, I've actually been able to learn a lot from this. And although I don't have a platform of my own right now to actually talk about how the things I've been learning on revenue game and from my internship, but then with the way I'm interning with you, I'm actually going to try my best to actually um tune the content I'll be putting out there to actually fit the narrative of the people who actually needs it, who are the freelancers, the content creators, young entrepreneurs and all like that.
And tell me, I mean, I'm I've been doing just this one job for 39 years now. Uh, what, how should how should Josh and I be reaching out to younger people, to people literally all over the world? What should we be doing to share?
Well, I'll first of all start with basically there are a lot of platforms out there to actually reach out to a lot of younger folks. And these days it actually takes a while to actually um grow that audience, but with consistency and letting them know that revenue is not random. It's as a result of, systems, alignments, and values that is being transferred clearly to the right buyers. So that way, and I know that a lot of young entrepreneurs, a lot of young freelancers, they would actually want to, because most of the problems that they mostly have is that how do I actually maximize revenue? How do I sell this thing? How do I make the best out of this and stuff like that? But then the way you and Rick can actually the way you and Josh can actually reach out to those younger audience is actually making them know that revenue is not random. Using platforms like TikTok, Instagram, they actually relate to that more. Short form content actually works best. And then to reach out to professional young folks who are just trying to grow, who are just trying to grow, let's say LinkedIn, trying to get into that corporate world, would actually need to put out content that actually lets them know that they are not alone in being confused. And being confused is not being confused about generating revenue. It's not a bad thing. You just need the right system, you need the right structure in place for you to actually do that. And this is what the revenue game is for.
I, Josh, I've got another question for Precious.
Yeah,
The
yeah, go
audience
ahead.
doesn't know, but the last time we were together, you passed on to Josh and I a blog post that you'd written for us to do something with, and
Yeah.
I can only say you did a really, really good job. And
Thank you.
you told the story in a very powerful way, and you wrote it in text, and it's really got like three or four sections, and each of those sections can even stand by themselves. And then when you put them together, it tells a much, much bigger and robust story. So my question I'd love to have you share with us is, how should we take that document and get the most communication value from that? What should we do with that post you sent us that's got three or four really strong messages separately, but they come together and tell even a bigger story? I'm guessing when you wrote that, you were imagining how to share it. Share with us what that would be.
Okay. So, with the blog post I've written, the way I would actually love it to go out there is, through blog posts. then LinkedIn also to reach out to um the corporate world. Basically we all know that LinkedIn is actually a platform for people who are corporates, and then blog posts also, SEO driven blog posts, and also uh breaking down those messaging into short form content, which we are actually going to be making videos out of and posting them on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Although we can actually just stick to one, but then we can actually stick to both also. And then I'm trying to actually um I'm trying to make us start like this story series on probably TikTok, basically how to actually maximize your revenue as a company or as a freelancer. So, each short form video would actually have a point, and then would elaborate on those points, and then, part one, part two, part three, part four, like that, to actually reach out to those audience. Instead of putting it out there all at once, we would actually break it down for them to actually understand. So that way it won't look overwhelming to them. And then also we are able to communicate effectively to our audience.
Very good. Very good. Um, Josh, have you got some more questions?
I think that's all the questions I had. I got some
So,
pretty amazing answers that ended up answering two or even three of my questions sometimes.
yeah, Precious, you're very good, and I'm thrilled because one of the challenges a lot of people have is linking tactical with strategic. And as Josh said, when you respond to us, you and everything you've written for us and the work you've done, you blend those two things together, which I appreciate. And I'm glad you're an intern
Mm.
for us right now because we need that kind of help. Um, so I have two last questions for you. One,
Okay.
this is my first experience working with an intern, and I think you've had at least one other internship. Would you share with the audience the reasons that internships are important, both for the companies such as us and for the interns yourself, so that they get a better idea of maybe they should go enter into an internship program?
Okay. So I would say I've been into marketing for a year and few months now. And when I actually first of all started, I was, confused. I watched a lot of videos, trying to understand a lot of things at the same time, trying to just get everything in there. And I would say I didn't get that. I didn't get it fully. And no one would actually want to take on that mantle of just teaching you like that. So I decided to actually start taking internships. Starting from unpaid to paid internships to ones where they give stipends and Wi-Fi allowances and stuff like that. And I would say it has actually helped me grow so far. I've been able to understand frameworks, understand considering working with different companies from different countries. I've worked with a company in the UK, worked with few in the US, worked with a personal brand in Canada, and also here in my home country too. It has made me add this vast knowledge about how the corporate culture of different country works, number one. And then I've been able to learn from different mentors. I've been able to have this relationship with them. I've been able to network with them. They've been able to introduce me to their networks our outside our normal corporate space. I've been
Mhm.
able to make friends with them outside just being my boss and my mentor. And I would say it's actually been an incredible ride. And honestly, you guys should actually take internships a lot. take as many internships as you can take. It actually helps you grow mentally, intellectually, even emotionally, because basically most people would be like, oh, they can't get a job, they can't get this, they can't get that. And I wouldn't say it's your fault but then I wouldn't say it's not your fault, but at the same time, it's your fault for not building yourself. You actually have to build yourself to actually get that long time goal, which is getting the cash. So you actually really need to build yourself so that you can be able to transfer value to the company you are actually going to work for in the nearest future. So yeah.
Wow.
That's
Well,
great.
yeah, that's well said. And I can tell you from my standpoint, having uh, young, smart, international intern, my first one, has been a very great experience for me. And it's one Josh and I have already decided we're going to have more interns. So uh, that's much appreciated. So I hope our audience is listening and if your contact information will show up on the podcast. So if somebody wants to reach out to you for learn about internships, or you may have your next employer out there someplace that's looking, so they can reach out to you for that as well. You may get a paid gig out of it.
Hmm.
That's
Uh,
also
so last thing, what would you like to leave the audience with? Anything you'd like to say just to pass on that people should think about or know about or be aware of?
well, I would say that most young entrepreneurs these days they actually relate to things like building personal brands, running a small startups and stuff like that. What I'd actually say is that instead of presenting revenue science as a corporate strategy, um, we can actually understand the true situations why creators struggle to turn attention into income, why freelancers feel busy. Most people are actually busy but not profitable. You know, I would say that you should actually join the community to actually solve real problems that a lot of people out there already feel. And what we are actually putting out there is a concept that is much more relatable in the corporate world and even outside the corporate world. So I would say you guys should actually join the community and you should also not do things just based on vibes and just random thinking. You should actually have a strategy for the things you're actually doing. You should actually have structure. And that way you can be able to actually maximize your revenue and you can be able to have a long-term business. Because at the end of the day, the goal of every business is to actually maximize revenue, and no business actually wants to just close down after a few years of just opening. So once you are actually maximizing your revenue on a steady basis, it would actually make your company to actually grow on the long term. So that is just what I want to tell you. Just have a strategy, have structures, and this community is something that would actually prepare you to actually do that.
Well, Precious, thank you. Josh, anything final words from you?
It's just been a a pleasure to work with you, Precious, and learn more about you and just get the opportunities to build what we're building together. And thank you for doing this podcast with us. And I hope it was as fun for you as it was for us.
And
Thank
and
you.
my
Yeah,
final words are: this is just a great opportunity to bring together a few different generations and a few different geographic backgrounds, and it was fun today, and I thank you for that.
yeah. All right, it's my pleasure.
Now, the audience, I hope you enjoyed it. We do this twice a month, and we'd love to have you come back for the next one. And in the meantime, if there's anything any of the three of us can do for you, Josh and I will do anything to help you win the revenue game. And Precious is going to help us with that for a couple of more months, but he is looking for a next career place. So if you happen to think of an opportunity where he fits, I'm not sure you could do any better. So you might want to reach out and talk to Precious. So I thank all of you for joining us today.